All right, we'll go ahead and call this to order. Let's do a roll call.
Brian.
Here.
Lexi. Here. Justin.
Here.
John. Here. It's not usually
Thank you.
ready.
No, I don't get part of the roll call. Not
Mayor?
important. I don't get a vote, so it doesn't really matter.
What are you
Just
doing?
ask John. I have no
You
problem.
called it to order. We already know you're here.
Excellent.
True
point.
story. All right, next week's council meeting. And we will not be doing a second meeting as a reminder for.
Would someone want to go and pull the TV out and turn it? Like, might be able to see it, and if they want to look at the TV a little bit
Everybody stand
better,
up at once.
Where's all my drinking money?
just pull it towards you and then tilt it.
Watch this thing fall off.
No.
No, I pulled it out. I pulled it out a few times.
That's why we all waited for you to
It
go.
does,
I know it's been practiced before, but nice.
It sounds a little scary, but it's good.
Yeah, that didn't sound good. Now just stay there and just hold it.
Walk away, Jen.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
With caution. All right. So looks like mostly TIF approvals.
Yeah, don't be scared.
This is an odd question. Steve's Ace has a liquor license?
If it's a wine,
That's what I was told, like, for like gifts.
yeah.
They don't sell it by the glass.
No,
No,
yeah, they just sell wine, yeah, like
No,
gift
because
wine.
There might be
they're
like a
ringing
local
bells. I
wine.
could have used.
Yeah, there probably is tonight. I don't know if they're selling it or.
I don't know what they're doing tonight. It's for their ladies' night.
It's ladies' night.
Their application hasn't come through yet, but it will soon,
Sure.
so I just went ahead and put it on because I got the notice with the renewal.
Tough stuff.
It may not even be on there next week. by the
Each are
time. I don't
individually
have that.
approved, huh? That's interesting.
Otherwise, we just have a 5-minute meeting.
It might be 10, John.
All right, anybody have any questions on anything on there besides that we're TIFs? TIF friendly night. All righty, department head discussion. Stacy, would you like to start for us?
Sure. I guess there's not a ton, I mean, it's all capital improvement stuff that we're still doing. I know last time we talked a little bit about the weight room, and the new equipment coming. We are able to keep it open, so I am keeping it open. This Monday is the special day, where the stuff is gonna start to be delivered. I have sold some of the equipment already, some of it's being taken out slowly. Today, a couple pieces, tomorrow, a couple pieces. And then with the help of Public Works, on Monday, we're gonna take out all the other new circuit machines, or old circuit machines, so that they just have the opening to place the new machines. They said if they had it wide open, it'll go faster for them, so anything we can do to make it speedy, we are going to do. So it's gonna be the biggest thing. We did get the new flooring in the spin room done. The new bikes are in the spin room. Working out a couple kinks with calibration, but for the most part, everyone's loved them. So it's been an awesome addition. I still don't have an ETA for the golf simulator, but it sounds like internet will be next week sometime. The only thing we're waiting on then will be cameras. I can't open it without a camera in there. I don't think we have an ETA on those, so that'll hurdle once the golf simulator gets here, so.
I kind of want to piggyback on the internet. We're having issues with the Wi-Fi because of the long run of the hallway. She's having the same issue downstairs, so we're having to add a couple of access ports up here and downstairs. So I just authorized that today. I think it was 3,068.
Golf simulator, what are rates or what did you guys decide are?
Yeah, let's just say we're still working on logistics. My next board meeting, I'm gonna have it. We've been working on, I would say, more rules and trying to narrow it down. I've found a few more facilities more similar to ours to see rates. I don't wanna compare it to a Top Golf or anything that's gonna be much cheaper than that. And so we're getting close. We're just trying to decide flat fee, members, do not members use it, trying to figure all those things out and then do it. I think the nice part is one of the things we just want to make sure to cover costs, any future costs for all the stuff that we have to replace throughout the screens and that need to be replaced. I think we're gonna provide the golf balls, we're gonna provide the equipment for the other sports within the simulator. So just to make sure that we can cover our cost on that is the ultimate goal. We make a little money, we make a little money, but we don't wanna put it, want it to be a perk for the members, not necessarily a huge revenue source, if that makes sense. So it'll be something, I'm not exactly sure. As soon as I know that, I'll add it to an update.
Just fine.
Yep.
Any other questions for Stacy? And Stacy, Dean? Sure. Hit us.
First off, I guess, any complaints with the road being open with people barricaded back?
Hey, we put pressure on the county and they finally finished their bridge.
Did they get it done?
Yeah.
Did they get it done? Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't heard word on that.
Yeah.
First-
Today it opened up?
Yesterday,
Yesterday.
yesterday.
Oh, last night.
Yeah, yesterday afternoon about 3 o'clock.
Okay, good.
My guys got to leave work and go across the bridge. They were happier than any Christmas they ever had in their
We were
lives.
happier than 2 weeks ago when we opened up the Piazza Street.
Good for them. So I guess, moving forward, I guess one thing that I'd like to bring to the council would be the fact that I've been putting some thought into a few of the items that we had budgeted and upcoming years of budgeting and adding assets to our equipment line. One thing that we are struggling with is being able to place that order for that dump truck. Still to this day, last year, when we started budgeting on this, they were telling me May they were gonna take orders, May 12th, they were gonna start taking orders. Still to this day, I have not placed an order on the actual truck. And that being said, with that order being placed in May, it would have been a June, July delivery. Now, that does not include setup. That was their anticipated date when the truck would possibly be here. So with that being said, if it would have got delivered at that time, it would have been in operation by the winter of 24-25 for snow removal. Well, putting us back this far, 6 months now, I'm kind of reconsidering that thought and looking to change that direction. Our purchase of our end loader will take place here. They're telling me within the next week or two, we should receive that end loader. What I would like to do and bring to you guys would be to possibly keep our end loader that we have now rather than trading it and still add the additional one. With that being said, the funds are basically there. What I would do then, if the availability of the dump truck ever becomes a possibility, I would take one of our old ones and trade that and replace it with a new one. We currently budgeted $246,000, which is in the bond. And to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that bond holds true for 5 years. So therefore, we would still keep our name on that list for that order when that time comes to us. But when that's gonna happen, we don't know. But looking at that, I mean, we would be looking at basically 2 years before we're gonna receive that.
So if we forego the trade-in on the end loader, you have a sense that we'll be able to trade in for a similar amount on the truck in the future?
That I can't have. I would say on the truck would definitely be a cheaper trade.
Okay. And used longer, probably.
But like I say, with, you know, whether it's a demand or a supply chain or, you know, lack of employment or what it may be, I'm sure the demand will increase. So that number, I can't say for sure what's gonna happen there, Brian.
So basically, we get an end loader today-ish, and then another dump truck,
Sometime,
Probably within 2 years, I'm hoping.
but we'll trade in a truck at that time.
Right.
Which the initial thought was that we would eventually add another end loader, you know, to our equipment list regardless. It's just trying to flip this motion a little bit, just to have that asset for the snow removal part, you know, to try to accomplish, you know, the snow removal part of it.
I know, I mean, my thought process is that's fine, but I mean, there's no guarantee those funds are gonna be there in the future, right?
Well, there's all
No.
that bond.
Right, no,
We
those
have
would
the,
be,
what's set aside in the
But
bond.
then what are we using to pay for this?
Is this already
We
done?
budgeted
The new one?
$150,000 this year for an unload
Okay.
The
already.
trade-in for the new one is gonna be 68.9. We budgeted 150 for the end.
Right, but if we don't trade in, it's
So if we don't trade in,
243, 244. Why not?
No.
well, if we don't trade in, we're basically buying, we already budgeted, the money for the new one,
150,000.
correct? So we're basically buying the old one back for 175. And I asked if we were to downsize, which my long-term intentions would have been to downsize two sizes, basically down to a 524. In the past, we had a 544, we stepped up to the 624. I asked Martin Equipment what we could purchase a used, something of an end loader underneath on that 1,000 hours. And he currently sold one to an excavating company, a smaller size, 524, for 155,000. So basically that 175,000 for two sizes, was basically a pretty good dollar.
So essentially, I think what he's proposing is we've got the 246 for the dump truck, which is money from the bond sitting in the bank. And then 150 for the end loader, so it's 396,000. We can go ahead and buy the end loader without trading anything. And then keep the rest of that money sitting, whatever's the 396
In the
minus the
bond.
244. And leave that money sit there for the bond, and then when we go to buy the dump truck, he'd trade something then, and then hopefully whatever's left over would cover that.
We would trade one of the dump trucks that we have currently. And basically, when we budgeted that 246 for the dump truck, we weren't looking to trade.
Right, and that's, I guess, what's changed that I think if I remember right, you wanted an extra dump truck. Or another truck, right?
Want another plow truck?
We wanted something for the feasibility of plowing, basically.
Wasn't for the need to have a dump truck. to haul.
Not necessarily.
You could
No,
use
but
it for
if you're
hauling.
trading in a truck, then we're down, then you're gonna be down a truck than what you wanted last year. Right?
That's
Still
why
the
he's
same
keeping the
number
end
of
loader.
trucks
Right,
total.
we'll keep the unloader.
Okay.
So he's gaining an end loader. Correct?
Correct.
Because we use one end loader right now
Correct.
to
Right,
remove.
so you'll end up
I
with
think-
two end loaders and a dump truck at the end.
Correct.
Dean and I kind of talked about this yesterday, was the end loaders are easier to drive, maneuver around doing snow plows. You don't need a CDL to drive it. I mean, there's a lot of pluses
Sure.
to.
It's way more efficient when it comes, time wise.
Yeah.
Especially when we get into these residential areas as far as the cul-de-sacs and such.
Like what's.
I know what you're saying, John.
I just want to see, I don't just want to be 2 years from now and say, well, shit, we have $350,000 here. We need another 150 to cover for the
another
truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Is what and I know we don't know what prices are gonna do. I get
And
it.
that's why I'm saying, when that time comes, we'll actually trade a truck rather than adding to our fleet,
I got it.
to try to, salvage some of that cost.
I got it now.
Mhm.
Got my head wrapped around it.
But there's gonna be a chance that we're going to need to have more funds available to buy that truck at the time.
You'll have 152
I don't
roughly, so
necessarily
whatever the
foresee
price
that,
is minus the trade.
But I can't guarantee that. Not knowing what prices
You're
are gonna be.
feeling-
I mean, we can't lock no prices in right now.
Understood. You're feeling like
And things are going down in price.
it'll still be pretty much a wash.
Sure, John.
My hopes are things, it's gonna be a wash or maybe, we're pretty fingers crossed,
Across 2 years.
even
Well, hopefully
a
the
little lesser
inventory will
than money.
become better too in a couple of years.
Okay.
I get it.
Not so sure about the
I got it
price,
around
but.
it now.
This paperwork that's in here is confusing me though. That doesn't say 150,000 for an end loader. We're looking at,
No, you're not looking.
so what am I looking at here that says 244 minus the trade-in?
The 244 is the cash price
So
for
the
the end
initial
loader.
cost on the new end loader is $243,990.
Okay.
They were gonna give us.
Trade-in value, they were gonna give us $175,000
Right.
for our end loader that we have today.
Right, but we're not gonna trade it in.
If we don't trade it, correct. If we were to trade it, it was gonna cost us $68,990 on trade.
But since we're not trading it in, it's cost us 243.
Yeah, it's costing us
Right.
243.
43,990.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
So we're gonna use the general obligation bond money for that.
Instead of
We're
the
just kind of flip-flopping our
Right,
thinking on
equipment.
the pricing on the truck from the future to now and the
get it. What is who are we buying the truck from and what's the hold up
International.
on being able to order? They just can't manufacture them fast enough or?
The demand, I guess the demand, like I say, the supply shortage
Okay.
as far as components and stuff like that.
Dealership you using?
Hard,
What dealership you using?
in Dubuque here. Is it Thompson? Okay. International has the Sourcewell bids. Through the state, county.
Makes sense to me.
Let's try it. I think that's all we have unless we want to direct right into the house foundation removal.
Yeah, we can do that. We can talk about that right
We
now.
received the bid. Has it been introduced to them yet? the
Yeah,
bid?
if they've looked over.
Oh, sure,
the-
sorry.
Right, yeah.
Um,
So it's been introduced. I feel it's a pretty good price.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we received that bid from Conley a couple days ago there. Considering, you know, the amount of concrete that has to be removed on site, capping off the sewer. The amount of soil that has to be moved, the earthwork, you know, the restoration of that lot. My initial thoughts would have been looking at if the house was still standing, we had the whole entire removal of the end disposal of the house would have been around that 20 to 25 range. So considering the house is gone, it's basically just whatever's within the foundation right now that we're gonna have for landfill fees. Considering that there's steel, wood of some sort, you know, still incorporated in that and some brick and stuff like that. That stuff will have to get hauled to the landfill. What they're gonna do with the actual foundation or the concrete, you know, is beyond me. Really doesn't matter because this is the price that they're quoting us. So how they dispose of it, you know, that's not really a concern of ours. The only thing that this does not include would be the seeding. It includes mulching, temporary mulching if they were gonna do it yet this fall, this winter. But it does not include any seeding on there. I don't know if it's.
Mulching just to hold the
But
dirt
which is
down
gonna-
and we'd seed it in the spring.
Pardon?
Mulching just to hold the dirt down
Correct.
and we'll seed it in the spring.
Correct, yep.
It's not that.
Which we can include the seeding portion of it in the Piazza Turn Lane project.
And that's where this
Good.
money would come out of.
That project too.
Yes.
We've got a bid price on that, on the seeding, so it'd be just you know, some additional.
That looks good.
So this will come back before you Tuesday for approval.
What did the department have when we had something from Mike? Had a squad car
Yeah,
or
I'm
something in there.
I think as long
just wait.
as long as Dean had.
I don't like piggyback off the Dean because he's already asked for a whole.
He just spent all the money.
I know.
You got it negotiated.
Any other questions? I didn't think so.
No money left, we'll skip one.
That's right.
Well,
I
I'm
guess
going home.
a couple snowfalls that we had, were there any complaints?
No, I didn't.
We never got into the residential areas of pretty slick snow. I know that there was a lot of family members home on Thanksgiving there, so I didn't want to really get into them residential areas when it come to plowing snow. Didn't want to create those windrows and turn to ice jams and such. So we, you know, just did a salt path down through the residential areas, kind of focused on the commercial. Didn't know if there was any complaints on that part, but that's my reasoning behind that. Didn't really want.
Driveway.
Pardon? No, you're right, we didn't.
I'm in the unloader zone. The unloader does
You
my.
mean the guys that did that area didn't plow any in it? Is that what you're referring to?
Fill your driveway with
I'll make darn sure they get it next time.
I've never learned that message.
No, I haven't really either.
Too fun.
Back to Mike.
All right, so before I piggyback off of Dean, just one thing I wanted to point on, when we have the new driveway for the police department, we've had a lot of people just ask, hey, how do you get to the police department now? So we're gonna add signage at the end of our new lane. Dean's gonna be doing that. I'm working with him. So you'll see a big police department sign at the end of our drive. And then he's gonna add another couple signs on Piazza Street both ways, just so people see fire department, turn there, police department, turn there also. So we can eliminate that problem. So just FYI, we're working on that.
Yep.
So getting into now piggybacking off Dean, I want money. No.
If we're gonna approve the signs, I don't think there's room for anything else.
Right.
Grass seed, you already got the grass.
That's right. So I was talking with Marcy today about the next upcoming budget, about, ordering a squad car. We're supposed to get one for the next 2025, correct, 2025 budget, starting July 1. I did call Carl's Chevrolet and they said, hey, we actually have a 23 Tahoe sitting down here with your guys' name on it, because reason why was when I was talking with them about ordering one, it was talk about being in the budget for this coming budget, and it wasn't. It's not a big deal. They said we can sell it within 30 seconds. It would be gone. It's technically in your name right now, but if you don't want it, we'll get rid of it. But if you're looking, because I'm looking to get a quote for a new one, right? For July 1. So what they hit me with is the one that's in there is a 2023 for $41,000, roughly. It's $40,757, okay? So what he said is, if you want to not take that one, you can try to order, you're gonna order one. You cannot get a 2024 anymore, because Michigan State Police Department ordered like 100 Tahoes, can't get them. They took basically the fleet, you can't get them. So you now have to order a 2025, which they would come out in July, August. I'm like, that's fine. I can order a 25 in July or August and get it in November, December, not a big deal, right? Well, he did. Sorry.
You'd get it, possession of it when? 2025,
Yeah, I would get possession of, which one?
the 2025.
25.
25, you could get it within, like November, December, you would get that, the possession of
For
that.
fiscal year 25.
Yeah, in 2025. So, but they said, now hear me out, they said all vehicles, not just Tahoes, but all the vehicles are going up $10,000 and have gone up $10,000. You ordered at the right time, not knowing you ordered it, but you ordered one at the right time. So now the Tahoes are up to 51,000 regardless as of July 1st. We're gonna be at 51,000 for a new Tahoe versus the 41 we currently have. And it all comes with the 5-year driver train warranty, bumper to bumper coverage. So I guess what I'm proposing is, you want to save 10 grand, this is a great deal right now. We purchase it now. We have the money in our reserves to purchase it. I would not get it outfitted until July 1, but we would take possession of it, soon. And then that money, we would just have to amend the budget, but it's in the reserves currently. So my suggestion is to,
$51,000 in the reserve account right now.
Here's how much?
About 51, just over 51. So that's the reserve account that we put 15,000 in every year.
Right,
So
was
there's
that,
51 in there today.
was that 51 for the reserve, including outfitting the vehicle and the outfitting?
no,
No, so we have money. for
there's
the
still money
outfitting as
coming
well.
in for that also.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think what he's wanting to do is buy the car, put the decals on it and just use it as, training, whatever, and not outfitted till July
Park it,
1.
Yep.
It'll be basically parked until July 1. We would own it. It would be sitting in our PD garage. We could use it technically if we needed to. If certain special events come, but mostly it'd just be parked there. We own it, and then we would get it outfitted, and I'd pay for it after July 1 with the rest of, what it's supposed to happen. But
Makes sense.
to save us 10 grand, it's a no brainer.
What's it cost to outfit a vehicle?
I'm sorry.
What's it cost to outfit a vehicle?
So last Tahoe, it's between 15 and 20,000. Let's just say that.
We're getting this as an additional unit?
Correct.
That puts us at,
60-ish.
Huh?
60-ish.
No,
I think
how
even
many
have
vehicles
lots.
staying out?
Oh, I'm sorry, four spots. Yeah, if we keep the truck.
We talked about keeping the.
Yes, correct. Yep.
If the money's in the reserve fund, I think it sounds good to buy it a little early and save money. Well, we're not saving, we're just
Sure.
avoiding a higher cost later.
We're avoiding the higher costs.
And for the budget process this year moving forward, we're gonna bump that up to maybe 20 or 25,000. just the cost of getting a new
Yeah.
squad and
this is
getting it
State
outfitted.
bid too, by the way. I mean, this isn't just buying it off the lot. This is state bid. This is the lowest.
I think state bid on the one that we bought last year was 35, wasn't it?
Correct.
So
It
it's-
just, I mean,
I
it's
have
gone up
state bid.
that much. And basically,
I know.
what they
Can I
come
get-
down to is
I know.
that
Can I
it's the
get a towel
demand,
for
kind of like
4,000?
Dean said, it comes down to demand.
I need one.
I support the idea.
Well, the problem is the supply is such a shortage.
And the
which
supply is short.
increases the
Correct.
demand as
Correct.
time goes
And
on,
raises the
Correct.
price.
Yep,
and it increases the price.
yep.
So if you're okay with this, we'll bring it back Tuesday for your approval.
And and then I'll add it to the amendment, and it's not on the amendment now that you're gonna be looking at, but I would add that to the amendment under the expenses for that line item.
It is a brand new vehicle, right?
Brand spanking new.
So we're not buying one next year.
No, this would be the one for
Not
next
for
year.
10 years.
You're right.
Well, we,
John, we talked about 12.
Being generous.
So you would have the trucks of
That is a 2017.
17?
Correct. That's our oldest vehicle, but it only has 59,000, almost 60,000 now.
So you got a 17 and 19?
We have a 17, 19, 21, 22 or 3 for the Tahoe's, 22.
22.
Yeah. Yep.
Does it matter that we'd be burning through, what'd you say, 6 months of the warranty? Is that a factor?
5-year.
What I believe is when it is outfitted, and I'll check on this. When it's in service, outfitted is when it starts. Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost positive it's when it's outfitted, going out the door for using for patrol. is
That's when
when
the
it's
warranty starts?
correct. But I'll look into that.
It might be the warranty on the outfitting, but not the vehicle. I mean, if you're using the vehicle, you said we might use it, you know, if we
But
had some
it's
for
gonna be
parade or whatever.
parked unless somebody needs it for something, yeah.
Should
it's
insure it.
there.
We should definitely insure
Oh,
it.
no, yeah,
Definitely
it would be,
insured.
it would be insured, yeah, correct.
You're saying no.
Well, I think if we just, I guess I was just thinking if we don't put it into service, then we just have to insure it and maybe the warranty doesn't start and then we.
Yeah, the problem is right now, they're getting rid of the Chargers. The Ford Explorers are the same exact price as the Tahoes right now, so everybody, law enforcement wise, is going probably to the SUVs, is what it sounds like, Durangos, they're all the same price in that ballpark range. So, you can't escape it, it's just the cost of doing business now, unfortunately.
I'm good.
All right, we'll move forward.
I got nothing else, thank you.
And John is interested in interviewing you for a job in the insurance business, because that was a sales job. It's only costing you $40,000, but I'm saving you 10.
That's right.
Yeah, I saw right through that.
You'd be crazy not to
Now,
do
50 in
this.
6 months.
It's crazy not to do this.
All right.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Don't like color-coded spreadsheets.
Who doesn't?
Those give me
Oh.
headaches.
Never use
Very
red when you're
brand.
talking
She's
about.
pastel.
Redford Fire Department, come on,
We're negative.
that makes sense. Parks and Rec is green, yeah, exactly, see?
Those are parks, got it.
I think it's-
Yeah, exactly. So this, just kind of gone through, we usually try to do 1 to, or 2 usually amendments every year. So just kind of went through. The reason that they're color coded is just different, like kind of departments, basically. So, and then on the right-hand side, you'll have an explanation of, you know, why we need to amend it. Some of those items are just, we just didn't budget quite enough for. But a lot of the items are items that came like from the bond or expenses that we incurred through the bond that just weren't listed. With the way the bond came in after, like, right after we had done the budget, and then we didn't have those expenses on the budget. So a lot of these items would be like that. So for instance, like the golf simulator, well, we didn't put it on the budget because we weren't 100% sure it was gonna happen this year, but we already had that money set aside in the grant. So we just need to add that because it's now, it's an increased expense. So essentially that's what we're looking at here. Does anybody, and I'll have to add the police cruiser. I got a couple other bills recently in as well, but we can also kick those up to the next,
And those are not
amendment.
sizable ones.
No, it's more like $8,000 a bill from Northland because they finally billed us for the wastewater treatment, when we did that new SRF.
For her
Well,
fees,
For her fees, so we need to add that on that, into that fund because we didn't have anything budgeted there. So it's mostly just kind of, I guess, more than anything, keep the state happy, make sure that they, we update the expenses and what we're spending. Anybody like have any questions when they kind of looked things over
On the
on the expense side of it?
turn lane project, just remind me what that 50,000 additional updated based on PSA for the project?
So I'm waiting for
PSA.
Jacob to get back to me to see, I don't have a copy of
it's a
there were
professional service
yeah,
agreement.
the service agreement with
Contract.
BNK. I just need to see how much more there is left on that purchase or on that PSA so that I can make sure that I amend the budget accordingly
That's just for
on
their
that line
engineering
item.
fees.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's part of the project, but I just need to amend that line on the budget so that it's reporting the correct amount. And he's out until Monday, so I'll get that updated. And then you'll see, a lot of the, like I said, a lot of the items from the
So under miscellaneous, when we mowed everybody's grass, is that what that addition is?
yes, so
Is that when we
you
were-
have the expense side, then you have the revenue side. So it's an expense side, so we had to put that money out, so we paid it.
So now
But
we
then
need to
it should
reflect
balance out with the revenue side when we get reimbursed. But you don't necessarily have to amend the revenue side, from my understanding. You can just, really the expense side is what they really want to make sure is.
This is really an updated projection of total
Yes.
spending.
It is.
Exactly.
And you're moving money from funds that
Right.
that were in the bond, then you have to move them to the GL.
Right. So that's the expense portion of it. The other document is transfers. So we have the money sitting in, like the bond money is sitting in a 2023 GO capital project fund. So I can't just legally transfer that money wherever I need it to go. Like in the bank I can, but not in the system, right? So these are a list of transfers that need to happen, and it tells you where it's going from, where it's going to, and why. So it basically kind of clears things up on the cash report and allows me to transfer. There'll be more because we have, more of that bond money. Once we finish up the turn lane project, if it's 1.4 million, then I'll have a transfer on the last amendment to transfer that money over to cover that fund, because right now the fund is just negative until we transfer it to when the project is done. So these are just, you're authorizing me to make those transfers, and those have to be listed on the budget as well with the state.
So Marcy, to make sure I understand, like as an example, the park reserves, the second line, we had accumulated 11,492 in park reserves in that fund that we're moving to the specific project for the Royal Oaks.
Correct. So,
Storm. Okay.
and
Storm sewer.
yes. So there was a deficiency balance still on this old project that was closed out. So we're moving the money from the reserve park account to clear that project up and close it out because it's
Okay.
done. We did that reverse referendum for the Highway 20 lift station. So for those funds that are in there, that we wanted to wait until we got the wastewater treatment, the sewer account fund kind of cleaned up. Heidi was like, don't transfer that money out of there. It's gonna make your sewer fund look negative. So we didn't do it last year. We're gonna need to transfer that over. That was the money that we had from the reverse referendum for the City Hall project. The golf simulator. And then just moving a lot of these are moving funds kind of for Stacy too. Some of the money from the bond to move that over into her Kelly Oaks Park fund. So that way she can, continue spending those funds and have a better idea of what her actual budget and money really is. And again, a lot of that is a function of, we got the bond and it was like, oh, we already kind of did the budget. So now we need to go back in and add these transfers in. A lot of these I've had like documented since before the fiscal year started, knowing, oh, we have to do these, add these to the amendment of things. And then I will probably do another amendment like in May. Or I think you have to have it done by like May 1 for anything else that is coming
End of the
through.
year.
Yeah, kind of the end of the year to clean it up, because you don't want to be negative in any certain fund area on expenses or over in an expense category, so we get dinged. That's my understanding.
Yes.
Yeah. Something like that.
So
Okay,
So I'll add the police cruiser onto that list of expenses too, because I haven't finalized it, So what we need to do is if everything looks okay, we don't have any additions, changes, then on Tuesday, we would need to set a public hearing. And we can set that for the first meeting in January. And then I have to publish the amendment, and then we have a public hearing, and then it can be adopted. And then I can update everything on the state website and on our budget in the system. And then I can make those transfers.
and Marcy, the hearing is inclusive of the transfers. It's the
Yes.
amendment and the transfer.
Yep, all of that will be on that. It's kind of like the budget document. It's a one-page document. It'll all be all inclusive in there,
Excellent.
yep.
Excellent.
Good, good, good.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Annette or I.
Excellent job.
Thank you. And I can tone down the colors for you next time.
I like the colors. No,
Just when the top one is red.
Right.
That's the- We get that.
Pink, pink?
We're gonna start with this
Yeah,
budget.
yeah, soft
Change.
soft pink.
Oh, shoot, okay. So.
Oh, there's a lot of red up there.
At least it wasn't for parks, that one was this face.
This next item was, you had all asked me to bring this back at the end of the year, so don't know your thoughts on this.
Is this exactly what we were looking at before?
Uh-huh.
We hadn't made any changes, correct?
Correct.
What is our philosophy on these fees? That they cover our costs and we break even, or is our philosophy?
It depends on the project.
Okay,
So obviously, if it's commercial, it's gonna be a little bit more intense as far as the inspections. So the intent is to try to structure that so we do cover the cost, not only for Craig to do the inspections, but for staff time that's involved. Issuing the permits, having Shandi do through everything through front desk, and things like that.
that's helpful. I feel like Dubuque as a city is really high in their fee charging. They charge fees for everything. And I don't know that we should necessarily pattern off of them. So that's why I was trying to go is ours a cost plus kind of mindset where we're trying to be? And I guess I make the assumption our overhead as a city hopefully is still less than a city like Dubuque. So I just don't know if they're the right comparison, but then I didn't know the basis. how
No,
we're
and
billing
that's
the
fine.
costs.
I mean, once we start getting a little bit deeper into the budget, we're gonna work on the admin side next week. Then we can get a better idea of what we brought in for permit fees for this year. And then trying to forecast what's gonna
Yeah.
happen in 2025, fiscal year 25.
Kind of feel the same way, Brian. My gut feels me, I can't even tell you what fees we've risen, but it seems like we've risen a lot of fees in the last 12 to 18 months.
Now we're gonna talk about some more here.
You know what I mean? And I know things cost, I get that.
No,
I get it, but it just seems like
Well, I'm just bringing this
every
back
6
because this
months
is
that
something
we're
that we
raising
talked
fees on
about.
this, raising.
Well, and we never could get an answer on how much we're spending or paying ECIA on doing these inspections, right? That's what we wanted.
No, we get
Yes,
an
no.
itemized,
But I
I thought they
mean,
just gave you a general,
it was just general what they,
It's a
we didn't
monthly
know what
charge,
they
yeah.
did.
yeah, we never got
like a breakdown
like-
if it's like 8
breakdown
Did
for
hours.
we,
project,
like,
what
let's say they
project
did
did
a
this?
commercial building and it was, I mean,
16 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
yeah, because I just don't want it to seem like we're profiting off of,
yeah, I'd like to
these
see
building fees, but-
ECIA's bill a little more.
but we've asked for
itemized.
that before and it's just,
They don't.
So would it be helpful if I contacted them and maybe said, hey, can you tell me on Callahan, what were the fees
Perfect.
for that project or this project? So that way, because I can tell you what we spent and I can produce all the invoices for you.
yeah.
We
But
don't know how
then
much
if we have like a
work
spreadsheet or
went
something
into
that's put together that shows you how much, here's what we took in for Callahan's project and here's how much we paid out. Is
I
that
think we
what
just
you're kinda looking
bypass,
for?
Yeah.
we bypass Craig and go to his admin
Well,
assistant.
yeah, that's what I mean. I didn't
Yeah,
mean Craig
yeah.
specifically,
Okay.
but somebody in accounts receivable.
Yeah,
or-
we did a little bit of
Okay.
just a cost model, so we, commercial projects, it's this, and we know we're spending this much in staff time. We can get a feel for, are the fees matching? I get it, we're short. But
Right.
we should cover our overhead, and we probably should have a little bit for our trouble, but I don't think it should be a major profit area for the city. we should be able to defend what we're
Well, these
doing.
new
Right, I
buildings
just wanna
should
break
already
even.
property
Yeah.
of the
Right.
city eventually.
So we'll call.
Yes.
Yes, we
Right.
can, I mean,
When
we
we
got
have,
one of that.
we have development and it comes online
Can
and then
we
they
get some
start
more
paying
numbers for
taxes.
ya?
Right, there's a back end
There is.
advantage that we're gonna get on these.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes
Really,
it's gonna take
with the
20 years.
I feel like the fee logic should cover our cost
Yes.
of doing that work at that time and probably not a lot more.
I never see money come in.
Right, I get that.
Yeah.
The,
Just tipping
the
them all.
12 cents a square
years,
foot
20 years.
referenced in ECIA's letter. Isn't that something we set this year?
We did change it this.
I
We
thought it was-
capped it though.
I thought we capped it at 15. I'd have to look back on that.
I mean, we just set
We used
this,
We just said it.
and now we're looking to raise this.
No,
No,
Yeah.
we didn't raise anything last time.
No, I thought we just set this 12 cents
Fee
this
is 12
year.
cents per
Yeah,
square
I
foot.
think we did.
Oh, we did too.
That's why we were.
Yeah, so that's my
worried about
concern
raising
is
it
now
again.
we're going to go
Raise it
in
again.
less than a year, we're gonna raise it again.
Well, this letter was dated June 1, so
And you guys had just asked me to bring it back to see where we were, you know,
Right.
as far as what we were doing for development.
But are we charging this 12 cents a square
Mhm.
foot right now?
If that's what that says, then yes.
The current commercial building permit fee structure of 12
That's
cents a
as
square
of
foot
June 1.
was a great way to transition contractors and ease them in.
but we didn't know if that was going to, because we capped it at
There was a
the
dollar
square
amount,
footage, yeah, dollar amount.
We didn't know if that was gonna be enough
not to.
Was it enough?
Yeah,
or too much.
right.
But I think there was a building that we were looking at the time that we didn't end up getting, that was
Correct.
that's right.
a huge problematic thing that was gonna cost lots of money.
That was diplomatic. Look at that in a basket.
Very well done. Very well done.
That's a nice dance, Justin.
Was it? But Annette, you really want to move to a flat fee kind of model.
I do.
A square footage, flat fee.
I think it would be easier to do it that way. And again, we can go ahead and go through the next fiscal year and just continue to revisit it.
We'll try to get you some good, better numbers.
Yeah.
20 years more.
That we need more.
Anyways, they should be able to get that breakdown.
Yeah,
So
should be able to
are we
get
looking to do
project
anything with this? Absolutely.
I think that though, if there's a way that we can get, like Brian said, is a breakdown,
What is the cost model?
truly, yeah.
Because I think that'll help us determine if at some point we wanna hire somebody as well.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, because
also
how much
just
money are we
we're spending
giving?
And maybe we
$60,000
were giving
them
guy, we might as well
Maybe we
hire
should do a
somebody.
better job at tracking our time. Yeah, we can do that as well. We'll do a better job tracking our time.
Yeah.
To see how much
Yeah.
time, you know, we're putting into
And
it.
that doesn't even have to be
So we're
exact. You
circling
could go on
average.
an average fee. It's 2 hours of Marcy's time and it's an hour, whatever. Get a little cost model. We go, okay, we feel good about that.
Right.
Once we get the.
That we're covering our
information from
costs.
ECIA, we can-
I get we gotta cover the admin. I get it.
So Marcy, you just keep us posted when you get
Mhm.
information.
Yeah, I'll
And
give them a call tomorrow.
then we can throw it
Or
on
Monday.
that work session again and go,
Bring it
what
back.
did we say about
That
this?
sounds fantastic.
Doesn't it though?
Marcy, you're supposed to give us that stuff. Oh, you did.
Yes.
Looking at this a third time.
I thought we were gonna take this off the agenda. Franchise fees, we talked about this a little bit before. This is something that we can talk about during budget. I really don't think that we need to even broach it tonight.
I
if
think it
that's
was
okay with
another
you.
kick it down, like he brought it up, I think, in the spring and said, hey. And I think I had emailed you, I was like, in light of Alliant Energy, do we really wanna like?
Yeah, and I think
We're
that
gonna
the
do.
discussion needs to be had with the property tax reform and the amounts.
Where that's gonna land.
Well, right, we're waiting for the DOM tool at the end of this month, and then we get the assessment, the valuations at the beginning of the year. So we'll have a really solid number on what we're going to be losing. And then I think that's where we start talking about franchise fees, and all the other fees that we can possibly start collecting. And other, items that we can levy for.
Then utility billing for.
Yeah.
Speaking of increasing fees. So I kind of wrote this up, just based on like what I've kind of been seeing. So when we started doing tenant billing, not long after I started, it was an ordinance that was passed just before I started. Which it's been fine, it's been going fine, but the biggest kind of thorn in our side is the Hillcrest apartments. Those meters are all inside the units,
Which ones are those?
the on-call,
Bridge.
the older ones on-call.
Little Larry's old ones.
So anytime that we need to try to shut off someone, we have to call the landlord's manager and we're back, we usually, when we post the door 24 hours to give them the 24-hour notice, we're posting the door. Last month, what did you post, 4 or 5 just in that one building, Dean?
Correct.
And then they have 24 hours. So at that point, we're contacting the landlord and saying, hey, we are posting these people's doors. You know, can you send someone tomorrow at this time so we can let Dean in, so we can shut these off? And then it's back and forth. And then, oh, did they pay it? Did they pay it? And we're kind of back and forth. And it just is, it's a lot. And then the one day the guy showed up at 2:15 and Dean, we told him 2:30, he left at 2:35 because Dean wasn't there. And then we had to meet him then again the next day. And it's just been kind of a pain because we can't go in and shut water off without them letting us in.
It was definitely a concern at the time when this was talked about, as far as the utility building getting billed directly to the tenant. That them two buildings in particular over there were a definite concern at that time, considering that the shutoffs are within the rooms themselves with the tenant.
No,
What was
what's
those?
that?
Richard Beekler,
Richard, yeah, Richard Winkler.
at the time he had a partner, drawing a blank. Hamel, Tri-State Parking,
Oh,
me out,
Greg.
Justin.
I think this is Greg,
Jeff.
Jeff Hamel?
Greg, yeah, Greg or something
Yeah.
sounds.
Greg
something like
sounds,
that.
yeah, I don't know about the last one.
Samsonite.
Jeff Spahn.
Oh,
Jeff Spahn,
Gotcha.
at the time was representing, those buildings along with Dick Beekler. Jeff did all the speaking for it. And like I say, it was definitely a concern at the time, considering that those shut-offs were within the units.
And those are the ones that give me the most trouble.
They're the most, yeah.
Yeah, they're
I
the
mean,
ones with the most.
we
they're the
have
most-
shut-offs
most
throughout
delinquents.
town, but
Yeah.
they're the most of the inconvenience.
So is there a
And we
way,
probably post more doors and shut more people off there than anywhere.
Correct.
so is there a way that we can get
A key?
a key ownership?
Why don't we have a key to their?
So we can definitely have that access. I don't want the responsibility nor the liability of taking the grief from the tenant.
Right,
Understood.
right.
And the last. one
And
we
that
had
being
was-
said, along with that, that shut off is within that room. Them shut offs are old. If they leak, I don't want to be responsible for that leakage of that shut off.
How's it happen? now?
Within the
You go in,
unit.
You go in and he shuts it off and you lock it,
I shut it off, I lock it.
but he's there. and
He's
if something
there to
breaks, it's
allow
his
me to go
responsibility.
in to deal with the tenant.
Yeah, they would come and let us in.
Have we had a conversation with the owners?
I had kind of a conversation last month with the property manager and I'm like, you really need to, talk to Richard about this, as that it's getting really, especially when the guy left and then we sent Dean over and then we had to send him again and, it was just, cause he was out of town. And so I said, this is getting to be too much. Like, we need to figure something out. Either you guys need to start paying these bills or, something needs to change. I'm like, we're gonna need to, reconsider how we're billing this because we just don't have the staff availability to send people constantly. Cause that was the day that Dean went over there and this lady screamed and freaked out at him and then she came in and paid it and, it was. So not really a conversation with the owner, no, but I know.
Actually, 2 months ago, I had a
You-
conversation
you
with the
talked to
owner, and he actually said if it continues to be an ongoing issue, we might have to here and have further conversation
I
on
think it's
that.
time to have further.
I think
So that time has come, and actually, I tried reaching out to him last month, when we were having the issues with that shut off and trying to coordinate times and stuff like that, and he didn't answer at that time, so since
So
that
maybe-
one conversation 2 months ago, I haven't had.
So we could, options there would be, we could just change the ordinance to say that, those shut offs have to be outside the units and then we'd have to turn everybody back over to billing him. That's one option, or we could amend it to say, it's not every person, right? There's like a repeat offender, we shut her off 3 times and turned her back on and she's a little crazy.
Is there,
I mean,
is there a connection fee with each time?
yes, $75. So we could also say, well, we'll put it in the tenant's name, but once we experience 3 months of delinquency or something like that, then we can say, now it's going back into your name. I mean, we have options. If it's either, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. It could be.
Right, because if I remember right, it all stemmed from the landlords wanting to come in, ease of doing business for them.
Mhm.
They don't have to worry about collecting everything, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So we went down that road.
And it's not working.
If it's not, if certain places it's working for, that's fine, but if it's not working for this in particular group, well, it's time for us to make adjustments, so we don't, right, we don't suffer endless times and, so I think we're definitely there.
And we shouldn't be having this discussion.
Right, and keep in
Okay.
mind how many more apartments we're gonna be having coming online.
I was just gonna say, it's typical that the shut-offs are outside now,
Yes.
right? I mean,
Oh,
most of our
absolutely. Or they
construction
have
and
a
everything
room.
going
All the
forward.
new ones.
Or they have a closet room that has
That you
all the
can
shut offs in.
And
that
we have a key,
access.
yep.
Right, that's, it's good for them to
One or
have
the other.
access to their apartment.
So
Yes.
he needs to
Yeah,
switch.
yeah, we definitely don't want the
Switches
responsibility or the
access.
liability to have
Right.
access to,
I agree.
nor do I want to go into
Oh,
any.
they'll be happy to do that,
So
So,
it's not in a mechanical room, it's in their actual apartment.
yes.
yes,
It's, yeah, exactly, in the closet and bathroom.
So my thoughts would be.
In their house.
yes,
Actually,
exactly,
in
which
the-
is why we
Yeah,
call
that's not
the
really
property
fair.
manager to come and meet and let them in, nobody's home.
So my thought would be to have
That's-
one last conversation with the owner, saying, look, this is where we're at.
We're not gonna,
And it's either, if we don't figure this out, it's gonna be no deal. I mean, is that too much leniency, or do we just go back to, it's too, it's.
Yes, I want to know, how do you feel about it being an all or nothing, or we're just gonna change the ordinance, you're all gonna have to go back.
Is
you're
this
gonna
the
have to
only
take-
one that, in the whole town that,
Those two buildings, yes,
That are
The only ones that have this type of.
yes.
then we can just change the ordinance, we don't.
I would say change the ordinance to, well, do we need to have a conversation with them first?
I would like to have a conversation.
Give
I
them a
think we should
heads
have
up
a
that
conversation first.
gonna change the
That we-
ordinance, give them 3 months or something and,
That we want
you know.
outdoor
I think
access,
you
or
tell them that
he
you got
pays the
6 months
bills and bills his
to
tenant.
How easy it would be for them to switch it to
retro it to outside.
outdoor?
Not easy,
Probably not.
Not-
So let's,
no, because they'd have to run all new plumbing throughout.
let's ask for the big.
That's
big
probably
ask.
a lot of expense too.
Right, and it's not every apartment,
It
you know,
probably costs
it's,
them more than what them units are worth
Nobody's responsible for it though,
in
oh yeah,
reality.
he's responsible even if they don't pay it, it's more just the hassle of,
which is fine.
But if
No.
we change the ordinance, it's either or, and then the landlord can choose how he wants to handle it.
if the tenant moves out
Fine.
and says, well, fine, I'm just moved out, and they stick him with the bill, he has to pay it. So ultimately, it's his responsibility and any other fees that are along with that. The issue is that we just don't wanna deal with collecting it and shutting it off all the time.
And neither does he.
Right, so we could do it just based on,
But I think we
hey,
need
we've
to
had a
shift
history of
that
delinquency with these 3 tenants, and we're gonna have. Or we could just say all across the board, we're gonna bill you for all of your tenants.
I don't like you having to keep a list of which ones we
No,
have an exception
picking
for and which ones
tenants
we
out is
don't.
not-
That's
Okay,
Right.
then, yeah, then I'm fine.
create an easy,
I mean,
It's
then it's
only-
basically
Nice
amending the
system.
ordinance, but having a conversation with him to say, here's what's coming.
Yes.
Right, the amending of the ordinance says if you have, right, if I'm not mistaken, if you have
Yeah.
inside, if the,
If the water shut off is inside the
Well,
building.
moving forward, it's just a recommendation. They have to have a separate unit
Right.
for,
Right,
Wait,
Or the
with
shut-offs.
what we've got here now is the ordinance is gonna read, if it is inside access, whatever, inside their apartments, it's gonna be landlord paid.
landlord build.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm good with that.
We could invite him to come to the council and share his thoughts, and we draft an ordinance, amendment, have him share his thoughts. If he,
I don't think he was one of the specific landlords really pushing for it.
it was more so Jeff Spahn at the time. Like I say,
Was
Jeff
pushing
Spahn was
for it.
more so representing the,
And Jeff Spahn was his partner
yes. But he is no longer
with him?
He's not.
partner, no. As soon as all this got passed, he bailed.
Am I right?
Sidebar.
So sort of on that same line, Dean went out last month, knocked on a door, met the property manager there. Didn't turn it off because he was there to turn it off, and she kind of wigged on him. She came over and paid. So we went ahead and charged her a disconnect fee, but she's probably gonna throw a fit about it because we didn't technically disconnect her. But Dean made 2 trips over
Yeah,
there
yeah.
to attempt to do it.
we were trying, yes.
So I feel like we might want to look at some type of if we show up at your house and you get online and you pay your bill, there's still a trip charge, like $25 for Dean to show up at your house. If he shuts it off, then it's just a $75 reconnection. So it wouldn't have to be both
Yeah.
fees, but maybe some kind of a fee as a deterrent to, because how many times have you actually gone over more than one time and just said, okay, well, we're paying it right now. Okay, then Dean just leaves. Well, it's still his
Yeah,
time,
it happened multiple times.
you know?
That's good.
Obviously, the fee is not a deterrent though, if you're turned
Oh.
3
But the
times.
fee could be a deterrent if you
Right.
set it at the right price.
Also, right now, we're only
$75
charging $15 to post a door. So we kind of checked around and there's another document out there. Chris had got some more information. Most of the surrounding cities are charging $25 to post a door. So that's posting the door with the red notice, 24-hour advance. We're charging 15. Last month you did 11. And a lot of the cities are charging 25. So some food for thought, might want to look at maybe increasing that one. And then the reconnection fee is 75, but there's no, some of them charge a $50 disconnect and then a $50 reconnect. I don't necessarily want to charge for a disconnect, but I think we should charge for a trip charge and call it like a trip fee.
Well, if we charge 25, we go to 25 for a door posting. That's a trip too. So we make another trip
Right.
out there and we were gonna do something, but we didn't. I'd use
So
the same
25 for
number.
the door posting, 25 for
You
the
know.
trip charge. If we don't shut them off. If we shut
Right.
them off, I don't necessarily think we have to charge them that
Shut 'em off
25.
to
We're
reconnect.
just gonna charge the 75 to reconnect.
I'm good with that.
Okay, so we'll put it on the resolution for the next meeting.
Marcy, when they reconnect, they have to pay the reconnect fee
Yes.
before we reconnect
And the $25 or the $15 posting and their bill and their penalties,
and the
everything.
bill.
It's just money management problem.
Yeah, it's sad, really.
It is.
But as we continue to grow and have more and more, you know, like I
I
said,
think this is
when I started,
systematic.
it was like, oh, we posted maybe one door and it was like a huge deal and Shandi was freaking out about it. And like, now it's like, he posted 11 doors last month.
Is that just continuously slowly climbing?
That's what inflation's.
For the most, well, last month was the worst, and I don't know if it's
Yeah.
just because we're coming on holiday season or what it is, but
Other doors.
usually, generally, it's probably around 4, 5, 6.
But, you know, those people, they have 24 hours, most of them pay. So we may not shut anyone off.
Well,
So most of them will pay.
when
Maybe
you're
we'll
around
shut
people that have to
one.
live check to check and dollar to dollar, that's the next dollar in, where does it have to go?
Right, it's
And I mean, I think this inflationary environment we've been in.
And I've had a few different
killing
residents.
people.
Hurting.
Yeah, and I've had a few different residents and he's like, well, it doesn't help me if you charge me $15 when you come post my door. And I just said to him, well, if you communicate with me and tell me that you're gonna pay Monday, but you can't pay this day,
Well,
then I won't come
We'll do
post
it.
your door. It's that simple, but you have to communicate with me and you need to let me know what's going on. And he did, and he still does now. If there's an issue, he
Fine, that's-
reaches out to me to,
cash flow.
you know.
It's 100% cash flow.
Cause, and I told him, I said, we get it. We're not here to shut people's water off. We're here to work with you. Us, and I worked in collections before, so I, you know, people,
If we have a plan,
right,
then we're
people
good.
want to pay, they just usually can't, you know? So we're
I
here to
support
work,
the
we're here to
24.
work with them. We're not here in business to shut people's water off, but
how long's our posting fee been? 15, long time.
I have no idea. Very long time.
Before all of
I'd
us.
adjust that. I think.
Yep.
It's not- still nominal in my opinion.
Well, it doesn't, and the $15 doesn't even cover anybody in Public Works to really go do it.
No.
You're cheap, Dean.
I know, right?
Well,
Salary, free,
Well-
extra hours.
I think I'm not asking for a raise tonight.
haven't you done it?
Raise.
Yeah, all right.
There's 11 doors in ours.
They're all the same building, so. All right, moving on. Moving on to Piazza Street and Burge Road turn lane. Yes,
Basically just showing you what's coming up Tuesday and Dean's looked it all over.
everything looks all right.
Yep, reviewed all the items.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll notice some overages on the percentages and stuff like that, but they're definitely items that have been delivered.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, okay, well, where are they new? I have some, the information that I have at home.
Perfect.
Asking you to talk about. Any questions?
Oh, Dean, do you know when, Conley is gonna be out of that parking lot that, ProPulse is renting?
If it's a concern, I can definitely make a phone call.
So Jeff Tice was in for lunch one day and just asked about it. He's paying still to rent that lot, but he's not able to use it, and I think he's just a little frustrated.
Mhm.
So the sooner the better.
So that news was not brought to me until just recently here, actually. I think it was either the later part of last week or the first part of this week here when We're looking to construct those steps going out the back there. Originally, before the project started, we made that arrangement with Alliant, so therefore I did not know that they were, that Alliant was receiving a fee for the lease of that parking lot. So I apologize, but I'll definitely bring it to Conley's attention.
Yeah, I didn't know they were paying for it either, and I asked him, and he said, yeah, we've been paying it. Like, well, why didn't you?
Yeah,
tell me?
How long has he been paying?
Since they signed the contract.
Yeah, up
So
until,
Alliant was taking the money,
So
but,
Telling us this-
but ProPulse wasn't allowed to park there. So, I mean, he was just paying for Conley to park there, basically.
So how, like 2, 3 months?
That's been longer than that, hasn't it?
Probably six.
yeah, I don't know how long ago they made the arrangement, but I know there was talk of it way back in May or June already that, because that's originally when I called Alliant and told them that we would like to have, you know, we don't necessarily want the additional traffic back there due to the inconvenience of access and, you know, for the construction purposes of, as far as, you know, stored materials and stuff, such.
I don't think he seemed too bad about it. He just said the sooner the better. I mean,
Okay.
he wants it, so.
Okay, yeah, and I still did not know that it was an inconvenience to them just because it was also brought to my attention that they don't need that parking space back there.
Oh.
That they have more parking stalls, you know, up front than they can.
Yeah,
And
but
they
it's
have
like
it.
anything, if you're paying for something, you can't use it.
Well, right, I understand it, but like I say, it hasn't been brought to my attention,
Right.
so I wasn't aware of it.
Mm-mm. No, I don't know how much. That was all right.
Councilmember.
Yeah, the topic is non-local semi-truck traffic coming into town from the north on Piazza Street. Curiously, twice in the same week, I had somebody that lives on Old 20 in the county, so they're not a Piasta resident, and separately a Piasta resident ask, is the city council talking anything about the semi-traffic that will come in from the north once the bridge opens again
It's
and
open,
everything?
so that
And now
was
it's
my
open.
point.
And so I asked some questions about it. I said, is there a lot of traffic or has there been a lot of traffic? And the one person that lives on Old 20's impression is it's not just Attico and Molo and some of the local traffic or farmers that we would see, but it's mostly commercial drivers and things from outside of town or other places in the state, and they come off of Chabanel and then they get on Old 20 to come over here or Epworth because it's Google Maps shows them it's closer. So they're really on a local use road, and when we have the big highway right out front. And I said, I'd bring it for discussion just to see what people's thoughts are. Obviously, we can't really control what the county does with its road, but we could talk about only allowing local semi-traffic and stuff coming in from the north once we're inside city limits. And I think my guess is when you update those kinds of things, we can update the road designation. And then people's Google Maps and things tell them it's local traffic only, and they go out to the main highway and come into Piasta on the entry. Have you guys heard anything from other people
I know
concerned
that,
about
I
this?
mean, I've noticed the truck traffic just coming through here
Yeah,
as the last 4 or 5 years have been ridiculous.
yeah.
I don't know what you can and cannot do. I mean, chief, maybe you might be
And
able to say.
these are, to me, to the north, it's all residential
One
areas,
thing
so.
we have in place
Turn it in.
is, yeah, the only thing we have in place for truck traffic is Jake braking, engine and ordinance. That's the only thing we have in place.
Well, what can we do?
Can we limit
I mean, are
the truck traffic coming through town?
Yes, I think you can, right in it?
Similar
I think
to-
that's a conversation you're gonna have with DOT.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think
Well,
we're gonna
yeah,
change
I mean,
it.
similar to
Isn't the reason that they did that new arterial though was to eliminate
So
the traffic
I don't know
from
if we can limit it.
your old
And
highway
DOT
into
split on.
Chabanel? It's supposed to cut them
Compare
over
those.
Chabanel, but they're not using it because it's not as fast.
Yep, that was the whole
I mean, that was
point
the
of the
whole point of
new,
that,
the new.
but it
exit and
definitely hasn't
entrance.
gotten better.
I mean, also keep in mind that we are gonna cost share
Mhm.
Piasta Street with the county, so.
We are.
But I mean, the county was in on the new arterial, right? That was their point too, was to decrease their
We were
traffic
trying
on
to
Old
get
20.
the heavy traffic to Highway 20.
Well, think about now,
And-
like now I've seen semis turn around, well, this is when the road was closed in Royal Oaks,
Yeah,
trying to figure out how to get the hell
That was
out of
because
town.
they were trying to get to,
Right.
because the road.
But
was
you know,
closed, yeah.
they-
but they're
that's 'cause
coming
they
in from
were
the
on
north
that
and then
road.
they were blocked and
Right.
Yeah,
my guess is with the bridge open, it's gonna ramp back up.
Local traffic would have known Piasta Street was closed.
yes.
Right, it's.
I'd say in the last 3 months, it's been very low because of the.
Yeah.
the road's been
Roads
closed.
closed.
Road's been
Now
closed.
you're gonna see uptick in it again.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what are some of the types of things that we can do to eliminate that?
I think it's a conversation with DOT, start there.
That's, yeah, yeah.
Because those roads are classified for a certain weight and certain classification.
Yeah.
And that's designated by the state, that's not designated by
Okay.
us.
And even in our four walls, so to speak, there's nothing we can do.
I think there may be, it's just, we
Let's
need to have
have to
that
look into it.
conversation. Do you wanna,
I don't know if
We'll
you
get
could
together and do
either,
that?
though.
We'll have to look into see what our options are.
It's actually a county road. I mean, it's our street, but it's a county road.
County road.
It's a county route, yes.
Supervisor.
The farm to
Yeah, and I was
market
thinking of
route,
calling
so-
one of the supervisors and bringing it to their attention, seeing if they're talking about it.
Yeah,
I'm just concerned about our residential areas, so,
well,
you
their
know,
driveways go right out to the street, and
Yeah.
kids play in the
yeah,
yards
it's
and,
just, we're only gonna have more people living up there. And
there's
So we
no.
just really need to direct people back out Cycle.
we want them to go
Where-
outside, we'll get on
Right.
the highway and come up and come off the
Right.
exit into the Enterprise Drive area, Cap Drive area.
Could be a possibility of having a conversation with the county. They can maybe post some signs with truck route leading that direction to Cycle as a truck route, whether they would or
I
not.
still think GPS still would
yeah,
Right.
bring them.
We need their Google Maps to tell them you can't go
the
this way,
shortest
you know, you
route
go that
wherever
way.
they're gonna go, I still think it'll.
That's a,
It shows
that's a-
shortest route, that's what's happening.
That's the
Yeah.
difference between like most of these truck drivers are using probably their cell phones. They don't
That's
actually have the
And they're just
truck
GPS.
GPS in there. They're
just
semi Garmin or whatever they wanna
following
use.
the same thing. That's
Guy said you could see them turn off Chabanel, come down, get on Old 20 and, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
just like this. So we're the next big industrial area that they're coming to.
I'll make a call to Russell Weber at Dubuque County and to start the conversation with him.
Thank you.
You bet.
And City of Dubuque is doing something with their central.
Yeah, I saw Central and White Street
Trying to
and talking
make it more
about
pedestrian
Well,
friendly and limit truck.
trucks to
traffic from
midnight to
6 o'clock.
6 or something.
They were trying to turn that back into a through street, not a one way.
Pedestrian area.
And then a big park and stuff. So they were,
Well, my guess at some point we'll have a park up there and we'll have more houses and, you know, the
Definitely
problem,
the
I like to get in front of it now if it,
direction that
Can.
residential is heading. Anything else anyone wants to bring up tonight? Call it meeting? All right, thanks, everybody.
so.
Good talk.